All right. I've been reading lately, and I did not know young Ben was going to be on. Or I assume he's young Ben from his picture, but it's been great stuff. He's got a new book out. He's a nationally syndicated columnist. His new book is Primetime Propaganda: The True Hollywood Story of How the Left Took Over Your TV. Young Ben Shapiro. Ben, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm a huge fan ever since the days when I was the quote-unquote Robin to your conservative Batman.
Thank you, my friend. Great work here, baby. And you know what? It's almost like you can go in under the cloak of just assumption. It seems to me that they must have thought you were of the body, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I used my Jew cloak. I mean, that's...
What did you go... What were you wearing when you went in?
Well, I was wearing my name, and I was wearing a Harvard Law baseball cap, and that pretty much does it. I mean, you know, in this town, you got Ben Shapiro for a name, and you're wearing a Harvard Law baseball cap, 97.6% shot you're a liberal.
There you go. So they unfold it. I have to ask you, out of all the excerpts I've read, the one that is, and indeed... I've chatted over the years. Did George Schlatter really use the C word about? Was that in one of your interviews? Or is that another interview that I?
Oh yeah, no, he uses a lot of nasty language. I mean, he's George Schlatter is an interesting fellow, and sometimes you do an interview and you're just blown away when somebody says something because you know that you're going to be able to make hay out of it. And this was George Schlatter because he went off in order on like every major conservative in the media. And so I was sitting there, I was like, please speak louder into this microphone.
Jeez. Well, when I read that one, I thought, boy, that's too rough. Anyway, that's a little heartbreaking for me. But what do? You go on. Tell me, it was pretty uniform, was it? Or was there anybody? It seems like Silverman at least had a lucid appraisal on what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the people in town are lucid about it. David Shore from House was lucid about it. I mean, there are a lot of people in town who understand that there is discrimination in the business, and there are a lot of people in town who understand that the industry has become overwhelmingly liberal. What I was really shocked by is the people who are actually willing to come out and say that they were very much for the discrimination. I mean, that's so out of line in everyday life, you know, with anything normal, that when you have people like Vin DeBona, who does America's Funniest Home Videos and MacGyver, when you have people like Nicholas Meyer, I haven't broken that tape yet, but Nick Meyer, who directed the day after Star Trek 2 and 6 and wrote Star Trek 4, he came out and he said, yeah, I hope there's discrimination against conservatives in Hollywood. I mean, that's some nasty material. And beyond that, I mean, when I interviewed Marta Kaufman, which I thought, by the way, all these people are really talented and really nice, and the point of the book is not to say that they're a bunch of jerks. The point of the book is to say they're using your TV to propagandize, which they admit to. Well, Marta Kaufman, when she says that an episode in the first season of Friends was a quote-unquote F you to the right, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that a lot of these people say in kind of the comfort of their own offices. And when it's revealed to the world, all of a sudden they're embarrassed by it. But, honestly, I'm not sure really how embarrassed they are or how embarrassed they should be, considering they do it day in, day out.
Yeah, when they walk into the grill down there on Beverly Hills for lunch, this is going to make them a hero. But let me ask you this. Is somebody really nice who... I've always been taught, and I have a couple people, honest to God, I spend much of my life trying to work my way out of a hatred for a couple politicians. And I don't need to bring them up, or that serves the purpose. But there's a couple people out there who I think to myself, do I hate this person? And I try to get myself out of it. To be able to talk to it, I'm sort of ashamed of it when it comes up in my head. Are they really nice people when they pack that much of a reservoir of hate, for half the country?
I think it's hard to tell because when I went in there, presumably they didn't Google me. If they had, they may not have given me the interview. I mean, it wasn't like I went in under complete stealth cover. I told them my name, I told them the topic of the book, I gave them my background, and they just assumed I was a liberal. So, when they thought I was a liberal, they were nice people. If I'd walked in and said, hey, by the way, I also voted for George W. Bush, I doubt that it probably would have gone that well. And I can tell you that it was bizarre. When I first started doing Primetime Propaganda, I really thought that discrimination in Hollywood against conservatives was more myth than fact. I thought it was a lot of sour grapes by people who weren't working in town. And it was fascinating. One of the people who I interviewed was Leonard Goldberg, who's on the board of CBS. Mm-hmm. He's the producer of Blue Bloods. Really nice guy. And he and I got along famously. And he said, why don't you write me a pilot based on Harvard Law School? I said, well, sure, what the hell? When a top producer asks you to write a pilot, you do it. So I wrote a pilot for him. We go into development on it. I had no intention of doing any of this stuff. And I went out and I got an agent. The agent, it's hard to get a meeting with agents in town, period. I get a meeting with the agent and some of his colleagues. It goes swimmingly. 3 weeks later, we're working on my stuff, and suddenly he calls me out of the blue, and he says, Ben, I'm not sure that we can represent you. And I said, really? Well, why is that? He said, well, one of our lower-level agents Googled you and found your political material, and we don't think you can get work in this town with those political viewpoints. And so it's not like I'm, working in town for 10 years trying to get a job. I was there for like a month, and this is already smacking me in the face. And at that point, I started to think, okay, there's actually a real problem.
Yeah, we're talking to Ben Shapiro, nationally syndicated columnist. Might I say, very erudite radio guest. I like you've got a good métier for this. Author of Primetime Propaganda, the true Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV. I just finished Richard Schickel's book on Elia Kazan, and it starts and ends with the night he got his honorary Oscar and Ed Harris and them sitting there disapproving, and then everything that's in the sandwich of it is maybe the reason they shouldn't have sat there and so easily disapproved.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, it's funny when I hear Harris talk, he always is so liberal, and I think, God, could this certainly... He's not blind enough to not see the irony of this stuff. Do they see the irony or no? It's just their very fiber.
Yeah, I think it completely escapes them. I mean, it was so funny. One of the first questions that I got asked was by the UK Independent. They asked me after Primetime Propaganda came out, are you being a McCarthyite here? Are you going after people in the industry who are closet socialists or liberals? I said, well, number one, they're open about it, so it's not McCarthyism. And number two, they're the ones who are shutting people out of the industry. I mean, what they've done what they did to Elia Kazan was unspeakable. And that, by the way, it's a really good book. And what they do to conservatives on a regular basis here is unspeakable. I mean, they really do discriminate, and it's not for the people who become the big stars. I mean, the left always, look at Joel Surnow, look at Jerry Bruckheimer. Yeah, these are people who are not openly conservative when they started their careers. Anybody who is openly conservative when they start their career in Hollywood will not have a career. There will be no start to their career. They will not work.
Yeah, it does take, I see some of these actors come out. People always say to me, well, the fact that you voice your opinions, I always say, listen, it's not that noble. I've been voicing my opinions for years. I'm a comedian. I have to do it. But I'd have to tell a young actor or in the middle of an actor, Ben, like you, I'd say keep it to yourself, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't endanger your career. I mean, we had a book launch party for this that Andrew Breitbart threw, and we invited a bunch of Hollywood actors who happen to be conservative. And at the end of the night, somebody encouraged them, why don't you come out? And one of them got up and said, I'm not going to come out because I'm not going to be able to support my family if I come out. And I said, absolutely, don't come out. I mean, what we don't need are more pariahs in the Hollywood community. What we don't really need are more people who get themselves cast out like lepers. What we really do need are more people who wait to get into positions of power and then start infiltrating the industry. That's really what we need.
There's your next pilot for a sitcom. A guy comes out as a conservative, but concedes that he was feigning homosexuality. Go, run with it. Call Apatow. We got a film there. All right, the author of Primetime Propaganda, the true Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV. Get in early on this one, folks, on Amazon. That's going to be a big, big seller, and you did a crackerjack job from the excerpts I've read. Ben Shapiro, good luck with it, baby.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, good kid. God, he's a good guest too, Christian. He sharp as a tack. All right, and you admire his cojones, because he's going to face the wrath of God now. But it sounds like is he with Andy? He's over at Breitbart.
Yeah, they're on the same team.
He should watch the movie My Bodyguard because Andy will take care of him. That's what you got to love about Breitbart. He's not going to let it go down the road. He'll just go nuclear on you, and he's very good at it. And he'll take care of that kid if he's under his aegis.